Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. My name is Jeanette and today I'm going to share my March TBR list. At the beginning of the year, I set a few goals. One of my goals was to read 70 books this year. I created a TBR bingo board that included 24 books in total, so 12 books that I have read before that I want to reread, and 12 books that I have never read. I currently have 80 plus books on my TBR list, so the goal is to kind of get that down. And I'm also doing the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge by inspired by Chantel Reads All Day. So to create my TBR for this month, I decided to use a random wheel generator. I put in a bunch of categories into it to choose my TBR for me, or help me choose my TBR. So the categories were newest on my TBR, the oldest on my TBR, a reread, a book from my TBR bingo board, a new to me author, and then a bunch of genres that I have. So mystery suspense, historical fiction, contemporary romance, a legal thriller, and a biography or a nonfiction, because I put those in one category because I don't have as many in those books. Okay, so then I spun the wheel. I did this like online and on the website, okay? And the first item that came up was the oldest book on my TBR. So I went to my TBR list to see. I have an Excel spreadsheet where I keep all my TBR lists of all the books I own. I have a separate one for all the books I've read, when I last read them. I love Excel. So the oldest book on my TBR is Little Women. I bought it in October of 2011 and I have not read it yet. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to read this. So I text my best friend and said, hey, help me pick my TBR. And she said, pick the oldest book on your list. Okay then. So I guess I'm reading Little Women. I had not told her until afterwards that was the first thing that came up. So I'm going to be reading Little Women this month. Then the second prompt that came up when I spun the wheel again was my TBR bingo board. So then I entered numbers 1 to 24 in a random number generator to see what number I was going to come up with, and it came up with number 8. And number 8 on my TBR bingo board is The Witnesses by Robert Whitlow. So I'm going to be reading this one, but I have this one in paperback and I have a copy of this on my Kindle. So the fact that I have 2 copies of this book, I think it's time to read this book. So then the third book that came up, or third prompt that came up, was a reread. So then once again, I entered a bunch of reread authors that I want to read a bunch of their books, onto a wheel and generated to see what author I was going to choose from this month. So the author that came up was Terry Blackstock. So the one that I'm going to be rereading is, the first one I'm going to be rereading is Never Again Goodbye by Terry Blackstock. Now this is I've had this book for years. I don't know, I need to look. I probably had this, well, when was it published? This one was published in 1996. Now, I don't think I've had it since then. I know I've read it. I remember reading it this summer of 2002 at my parents' house. I don't know if I've read it since then, so it's definitely a reread, kind of renew. But it is book 1 of a 4-book series. So as I said last time, I am a series reader. I love to read them back to back. So because I'm going to be reading this one in the month of March, I will then be reading the other 3 books. Broken Wing. Now, I'm probably not showing these in order. Actually, oh, maybe I am. No, I'm not. I don't know. So I will be reading Broken Wings by Terry Blackstock. I will be reading When Dreams Cross. And then I will be reading Blind Trust. Now, this book also fulfills one of the prompts for me in the Chantel Reads All Day Read Your Bookshelf Yearly Challenge because there's a book on the cover. I like when I can cross two things off at the same time. So, because, 4, 5, 6 books isn't enough, I rolled one more time and got a legal thriller. I have quite a few legal thrillers. Kind of one of the first adult reads I remember, or authors I remember reading as an adult, is John Grisham. And so that's kind of the first ones I've gravitated towards. So now I've kind of moved into the Christian legal thrillers. So I will be reading Fatal Convictions by Randy Singer. This one I've had on my TBR list probably for 2-3 years at least. I don't know. I didn't look it up before I started this, and I don't want to open my computer screen because of the glare of my glasses. But I have not read a Randy Singer book since 2017, and I have 4 of his books on my TBR list. So it's time to read another one. So those are the 7 books I plan on reading in March. I am currently reading Finding Love at the Oregon Coast. It is a novella 4-book collection. So I'm currently reading that because it fulfills my February prompt for the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, which is a book with love in the title. So as soon as I finish that one, I have 3 of the novellas left, I think. So technically I will have 8 books to read this in the month of March. And that kind of my typical average 8 to 10 books a month, give or take. So that is what I will be reading this month. And I will fill you in at the end of the month to see how I did. Have a good day.